Hello everybody, this is Nathan Galang from the Nathan Galang YouTube channel, and I'm here to give you 100% accurate Kingpyn boxing predictions. It is currently like 4 a.m. here in the East Coast of the United States, so later today, technically, will be the Kingpyn tournament. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. So let's get into it. Let's get into the first big fight of the night. I don't know who's going to be starting first, but it's the biggest fight of the night for sure, without a doubt. Gibb versus McBroom 2. Now these guys fought before, and Gibb dominated the last fight, knocked McBroom around like a grown man beating up a child, knocked him down like 6 times before getting the knockout, and so I get why people are saying like, oh, Gibb has this in the bag, Gibb has this in the bag, but I don't necessarily know if that's the case. Look, let's be fair here. So Gibb or McBroom claims he was sick in that fight. Okay. You might not believe it. I don't necessarily believe it, but let's entertain it, okay? Let's say it's true. If it's true, then that makes his performance a lot more impressive than we initially thought. He got knocked down a bunch, but he kept getting up. And he knocked down Gibb. So if a sick, dying McBroom was able to do that, what's a healthy McBroom going to do? But I think more likely this is the case. I don't think he was sick. I think he's lying. He's not necessarily the most trustworthy YouTuber. He has a history. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay? But I think it's possible this is the case. That he tasted defeat. He lost. He got embarrassed at his own event. And I think he wants revenge now. And you've heard Alex Wasabi say this. Like, he's not training with McBroom, but he sees McBroom training, and McBroom is training seriously. You know what I'm saying? McBroom is working. So you could see a motivated McBroom. And not distracted McBroom. Now, I don't think the personality of McBroom is putting on where he's like, I'm talking deeper, I'm talking calmer, I'm taking this fight so seriously. I got nothing respect for my opponent, but I will say his win was illegitimate because I was sick, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole fake personality. I don't respect that shit. But I do think that there is a grain of truth in the sense that I think he wants to win. I think he wants to win, and I think he wants to win more than ever because he lost. And this is a unique opportunity to try to redeem yourself right off the bat. So you think he's going to throw that away? You think he's going to put that to waste? No, and that's why I think, genuinely, McBroom's going to win. Now, we've seen Gibb experience this. Lose to Jake Paul, get motivated, work hard, become a significantly better boxer before fighting in Social Gloves 1. Beat the guy. What happened after? Another big gap between him and McBroom's fight, and we saw a ton of growth there. They said he didn't have power, so what did he do? Knock that motherfucker out. You know what I'm saying? But there hasn't been as big as a gap between Social Gloves 2 and Kingpyn right now. So we're not going to see, I don't know if we're going to see a vastly different Gibb. He's also been doing his training during Ramadan, so he's kind of, I don't know how he's doing physically and health-wise. Seems kind of wild to do to train during Ramadan, but you got to ask Gibb how he does it, but I think it's very possible McBroom wins this, genuinely. This is a 50-50 fight, but I'm going to bet on McBroom. I'm going to bet on the underdog. Not that I like the guy, but I just got to be fair. Now, the fight I'm most excited for, period, is Jarvis versus Zanetti. Because these are two guys with this come-forward, aggressive style. You know what I'm saying? Jarvis fought once against Michael Lee, but he was the overwhelming aggressor. You know? And we've seen him spar against Floyd, against Nick Lamau, and in both of those cases, he was the aggressor against more defensive fighters. Now the thing is, he's not going to be fighting a defensive fighter. He's going to be fighting Tom Zanetti. Now Tom Zanetti's history is short, just like Jarvis's, but more recent. Zanetti fought who? He didn't fight Michael Lee. He fought Slim. Okay. Now what happened? Slim was this guy that had knocked people out. A bunch of those Arab YouTubers knocked out Sensei, or excuse me, not Sensei, FaZe Temper. Sorry, I'm confusing the FaZe people. But he knocked out Temper in a brutal fashion. You know what I'm saying? And I think he beat Ryan Taylor then. Now, this is the thing, though. He couldn't knock out Zanetti. He got Zanetti clean, with a bunch of clean shots, but Zanetti kept coming and coming and coming loads. You know what I'm saying? So, it's hard for me to imagine Zanetti getting knocked out. And that's Jarvis's thing. He wants to knock you out, you know what I'm saying? So I think this is the key to victory for both of them, okay? Zanetti just needs to do what he needs to do. Make the fight dirty. Come forward. Pressure Jarvis. Break Jarvis down. Keep going. Do some jabs to the head, you know what I'm saying? Jab to the head, jab to the head, jab to the head. Then to the body. when he doesn't expect it. Break down that body, chop down that tree that is Jarvis, and then when he's like leaned over in pain, then you go smash his head in. You know what I'm saying? That's what Zanetti needs to do. That's what Jarvis wants to do to Zanetti, but this is what Jarvis needs to do. Jarvis needs to be smart. Jarvis needs to know he's going up against a brawler and change his style from also being a brawler to a boxer puncher. Jarvis ain't gonna be no outside fighter. But he needs to learn to defend himself against someone that's gonna keep coming, to counter. And not repeat the same mistakes Slim did. Even though Slim won, Slim was hurt afterwards. You don't want to repeat those mistakes, especially with this tournament format. So what Jarvis needs to do is box smart, and I can't think of anywhere best to be than the Mayweather Boxing Club, which is where he trains. But this is the thing. I think as long as Zanetti is standing, he's going to have the stamina and the aggression to hurt you, no matter who he's fighting. So unless Jarvis puts him out, then I think Zanetti can win. And I don't think Jarvis is putting him out. So I gotta give this fight to Zanetti, but I'm excited to see. I could be proven very wrong, believe me. Next fight on the list. My mate Nate versus King Kenny. And this is an interesting fight. It's mainly because of the dynamic of each of the guys. You can even see it in this picture. Kenny's being all serious, stoic, and Nate is just kind of laughing, smiling. This is the thing, right? Kenny obviously has a more well-known resume than Nate. He's fought on bigger stages than Nate. So people are giving this fight to Kenny. They're like, this is Kenny's fight. Easy work. The thing is this, bro. I wouldn't underestimate anybody, especially up against Kenny, because Kenny's resume is this. Kenny's resume is getting lucky 2 fights against the FaZe boys, you know what I'm saying? Temper beat him, but then Kenny got the win. Sensei beat him, but then Kenny got the win in the judges. I don't know if they changed the Temper's decision, but I know they didn't change Sensei's decision, which is complete nonsense. But he got lucky twice, and then I think he beat a guy, and then he fought Raksu, and he was supposed to beat Raksu, but then he thought he was Floyd and doing all this fancy defense, but didn't throw a punch. So he lost, and he lost big. So I'm assuming in this camp he's working on aggression, but I do think there's something defensive about his fighting style in his head. Like, it's who he is. It's his personality and his fighting style. So when you get in that ring, sometimes instinct comes in. And if his instinct is to be defensive and not throw punches, that could lead to his downfall. Now, I don't know much about Nate, but I didn't know much about Zanetti. Zanetti's first fight was against Slim, so maybe Nate can surprise us. I do think on a psychological warfare battle, Nate is in Kenny's head. Nate's doing all this nice guy shit. You know what I'm saying? Nate was putting his arms around Kenny at the way, and then Kenny pushed him off. Now, I think it's kind of cringe from Kenny's side. It's like, bro, you're not that hard, bro. You're a YouTube boxer, and you got lucky twice, okay? Be friendly with Nate. And then knock him out. Do what you need to do. Don't try to do this tough guy shtick. But that's what he wants to do. But I think Nate can surprise. So, I do kind of have like a... Not to be a dick, I don't have high expectations for Kenny in a lot of matchups, okay? So I'm going to bet on the underdog. I'm going to bet on my mate Nate, bro. Like, actually. Now, again, like, this is probably more of a 60-40 fight with Kenny. Maybe even 70-30 with Kenny as the 70% chance to win and Nate as the 30%. But you know what? I'm going to support Nate. I want Nate to win. But, objectively speaking, Kenny probably has more experience than Nate and can probably win, okay? But I would love to see Nate win. Okay. Next fight. Nunes versus Flipek. I don't know nothing about Flipek. I barely know stuff about Nunes. I know Nunes fought an MMA fighter, I think. So, I mean, he didn't win. I don't believe he won, but I think that's impressive that immediately he starts fighting, he fights a professional. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the opposite path for most YouTube boxers. But respect where respect is due. And because of that, I don't know anything about Flipek, but if he's fighting out here real fighters, and he's going to the influencer boxing scene, he comes in way more prepared than most influencer boxers. So I'm just gonna have to bet on Nunes, okay? Now there's one female fight that I have been paying more attention to. It's Barbie versus Whitney. And I gotta bet on Barbie, bro, like genuinely. It's not just because she kind of has like that crazy look, but it's kind of an attractive crazy, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. Though I do think the craziness will play a factor. But it's mainly that she's had a training camp before. So it's just like, she was supposed to fight Fangs, but she couldn't because of like travel stuff, and I get it. But she practically had a full training camp already. And then she had this fight later on. So then she's had essentially 2 training camps. I don't know how much training camps Whitney has had. She says her husband or boyfriend is a fighter. But that doesn't mean she's a fighter. She's a fitness influencer. You know what I'm saying? They're both fitness influencers in their own way. But because of those 2 training camps and the fact that I think Barbie is 6 foot tall, we've seen how size plays a role in boxing. Even in the female fights, we saw Yodeling Haley versus Just the Minx in Creator Clash 1. What happened? Yodeling Haley was, to be honest, the more technical fighter. But she didn't have the power to hurt Minx. And then Minx would just take a punch, but then just throw a 10 times harder punch and rock Haley every single time. So maybe Whitney gets a punch on Barbie, but then what happens? Barbie comes with a counter after taking a punch and hurts Whitney right then and there. Maybe at some point Whitney's gonna have to, the fight's gonna have to be stopped by TKO. Maybe Whitney's gonna go down on the ground. Maybe she's gonna get knocked down. Maybe she's gonna get knocked out. But I do not see a situation where Barbie's gonna lose, I can tell you that. So that's my predictions. I hope you guys liked it. And I am looking forward to this event. I hope you guys are too. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.